family. This is Ian with eXp Realty. I hope you're having a good day so far. I have a really special guest with me today. I have Ryan Rose with Rose Plumbing. Ryan and I go back. We went to Canal Winchester together, played football, had a couple classes together, and hung out. Ryan is going to talk to us about his company and a little bit about plumbing as well. So I really appreciate him coming on. Ryan, if you want to just kind of start out, give us a couple things about yourself and maybe some things that you like to do before we get started.
Yeah, so like Ian said, my name's Ryan. I've been plumbing for 6 years, and for fun, me and my wife, we enjoy traveling. We like to go down to Hawking and do some camping and go try some new beers. But
Okay.
that's my main hobbies, I would say, in
Okay,
life.
nice. Heck yeah, I like it. And you, any dogs or anything like that? Any pets right now?
Yeah, so my wife's she's a vet tech, so new animals is kind of like, I guess that's my other hobby that it's not really my hobby, but it's became my hobby. We got we got 2 dogs, 2 cats, 8 chickens, 6 more on the way, and then yeah, who knows what will happen next month. So
Okay, yeah, chickens. Hopefully, you might have to slow up on the chickens there, but um, while we get started, obviously a hot topic right now is the coronavirus, COVID-19. I just wanted to touch real quick. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but kind of what are some ways that it's affected your industry?
yeah, so service work is pretty big part of our industry. Obviously, in our company, we like to focus on service work, and just within the last couple of weeks, our calls have gone down. They haven't stopped completely because obviously, people need hot water and sewage to flow out of their house. So
Right.
we still get calls, but it's just not. I would say the demand's not as high as it was,
Okay.
just a month ago.
Are there any changes that you've made as far as how you approach work? I mean, you're probably already wearing gloves, but are you wearing masks and stuff like that too? Any kind of changes like that?
Oh yeah, we always wear gloves. Anytime I'm doing anything, I'm wearing gloves.
Mhm.
Those have become hard to come across. Luckily, I go into Home Depot every day, and the ladies, they save me a box whenever they come in and hook me
Oh,
up.
nice. There you go.
Unfortunately, the face masks are impossible to come by. So
Okay.
they donate all those to the hospitals right now. So you can't get those at any Home Depots or anything like that.
Right.
But
Understandable.
whenever we're leaving customers' houses, we don't shake hands anymore. That was kind
Mhm.
of the thing to do. Who knows if
Right.
we'll be doing that in the future? But don't shake hands. You don't have customers hovering over you while you're working anymore. Uh,
Mhm.
they keep their social distancing while you're in the house.
Okay.
Um, no one's specifically asked that I wear a mask or anything like that. So other than one customer, an older set of customers that asked us to wear masks and gloves, and of course we did.
Mhm.
Um, but other than that, the job sites, we don't have more than 10 people on them, and mainly we're by ourselves when we're at our jobs. So
Okay. Cool. Well, it sounds like you're being really safe about it, so that's good. So, what do you do? I mean, it's kind of a broad question, but what does a plumber do? You had mentioned to me that you're not only a plumber, but a master plumber working to be that. So, can you elaborate on that and just kind of what you do?
yeah, so growing up, I always thought plumbing was like the plunger and just going to unclog a toilet. But this industry is actually a lot broader, and you can be a lot more specific with what you want to do. And growing up, I didn't realize that. So being a plumber can mean a lot of different things. There's guys who obviously unclog drains. There's specific companies that specialize in that, and then you got excavating, and you got new builds, and then you got service work, obviously switching out water heaters and valves and stuff like that. Um, and then you also have outside work where people are running sewers and water lines and
Hmm.
um, gas lines and stuff like that. So it really depends on what field you actually want to go into within the field. Um, So it's kind of a interesting aspect that I didn't realize until, a couple years into it, and kind of started seeing the broader picture of the field and seeing that, hey, there's people that, they only do one thing in plumbing, and, they're making a living wage off of it.
Right.
And, they're passing up everything else. I'm sure they're getting calls for sewer drains and stuff like that just from word of mouth. People hearing that you're a plumber. Because I mean, we get calls on stuff that we don't actually do as a company, but people are looking for a plumber to do it. So
Yeah, that was one of my questions is, do you work on outside drains, or how does that work kind of with you in the city?
yeah, so gas lines, usually the gas company has their own contractors that they work with to run their gas lines. But if there's a water main break or sewer main that needs repaired, a lot in Columbus, you see a lot of tree roots, especially in the older parts of Columbus. You see a lot of tree roots growing in the sewers, and those obviously do not just go away. You have to repeatedly have to keep snaking them or replace them. So our company, we do that. We don't work on a lot of water mains, but sewer repairs, we do that.
Okay.
But
So
that's a separate license in itself. If you have a plumbing license in Ohio, that license gives you jurisdiction inside the house and then 3 feet outside of the house.
okay. Gotcha.
So anything farther than that 3 feet, you have to have a sewer tap license to do that work.
Okay. And this is another strange question. I didn't really prep you for this, but in my condo, I'm kind of in the middle, and there's a main kind of water shutoff for all of my condos. If something were ever to go wrong with that, is that something that I should call you for, or is that something that I would have to, the condo association would have to do?
Yes. So the main shutoff to your condo building. So every building, like every set of 5 or 6 units or whatever in a row, will have their own shutoff that shuts off all 6 units. But then in your basement, you'll have a separate shutoff where you can shut your water off to your house without having to affect anyone else around you. But if you were to have a leak on that main shutoff that shuts off all 6 units, that would be something your condo association would handle. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
But the shutoff inside your house would probably be yours, I would assume.
Gotcha. Well, my next question here is kind of how long have you been doing this? It seems like you've been doing it for a while because you definitely know your stuff.
Yeah, so I've only been plumbing for 6 years. My dad's owned his own company for over 20 years, and been a master plumber. I'm going for my license this year, so studying right now, taking the board exam, hopefully within the next month or 2.
Okay, gotcha. How long is that test? Is that kind of just like a standardized ABCD kind of thing?
Yep.
Okay.
There's going to be a drawing part on it, so you do have to come up with your own plumbing system, like a blueprint. But most of it's multiple choice, so that's nice. But it's going to be a long test, from what I've heard.
I know when I did my real estate test, I was kind of out of the testing game for a while, so it was kind of intimidating to get back in that kind of mind frame.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but I teach plumbing for a company called ABC, so I get tested a lot on that. Just guys asking questions, and then administering tests and whatnot. So
that's the best way to learn, is teaching something. So get a lot of knowledge that way. So what's kind of the number one problem that you get called on?
So originally, when my dad first started the company, he only did new builds. And then when the housing market crashed in 2008, he lost all of his work in one day. He didn't do service work. He didn't do drains. He didn't do any outside stuff. He had all of his eggs in one basket, and which is fine. He was making a great living. He had 10 guys working for him, and he was doing really well. But then when the housing market crashed, he lost all of his work, and so he's like, well, I got to find a different business model in this industry, because I know the industry. It's just I got to find a different way to make money. And so he switched over to service work, remodels. We do a little bit of new builds here and there, but I would say a majority of our work right now is probably remodels. and
Okay.
then service work, I would say, after that.
Gotcha. That's surprising though, because new builds have become kind of more popular. I would expect him to kind of get back in the game, or maybe he's just, doing good with what he's doing now, and he's already been down that road, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we past couple summers we've been doing some new builds.
Mhm.
He's just not putting all of his eggs in that one basket.
Right, right,
So instead of doing 3 houses in a week, we might do like one every other week or something like that for new
right.
build. And we
Okay.
found that new builds they're great training tools. Just because a lot of the new builds, a lot of them are cookie cutter houses, and
Hmm.
you could do the same house, 4 times in a row, and you really get your skills down.
You know what to expect. It's not a
Know what to
surprise.
expect. Right, right. You're not creating a different system,
Hmm.
because that's all we're doing is creating systems to remove your waste and obviously get water to where you want. So anytime you're doing the same thing over and over again, hey, oh, hey, my water heater's going to sit here and my toilet's going to be here, and it just makes things go faster.
Right.
And you're getting that repetition down instead of oh, the toilet needs to be 8 inches over here, and then my vanity's going here, and then trying to
Hmm.
coordinate with the GC and figure out where everybody wants everything.
Right. Okay, well, what areas do you service? I know you've came up and helped me kind of personally with some of the stuff around my house. I know you live in Canal, so is there a limit to where you service, or where do you focus?
Yeah, so I would say we work anywhere around the 270 outer belt.
Okay.
And then we'll usually go maybe 10, 15 miles outside of that outer belt if it's service work. So like if you were building a house or doing like a pretty decent sized remodel, we might travel a little bit farther for
Okay.
that, because it kind of I mean, it's worth the money then. But
Right.
if I'm traveling all the way out an hour and then I'm only there for a minute, it's just like, well, I feel
Exactly.
bad charging you,
Hmm.
$175, but I won't make any money, So
Right.
it's hard to do service calls when they're that far out, but
Hmm.
bigger jobs we for sure go out a little bit farther. But
Okay. Understandable.
anywhere in that 270 outer belt, we're money.
Sure. So, what is the best way for someone to reach out to you if they do have a problem, or they would like to have you answer some questions?
Yeah, so if you're looking for service work or just looking for one and ask a question, you can reach me directly on my cell phone. And then if you're looking to get a quote for like a remodel or a bigger job, my dad does all the quoting for our company. So I'd give you his number.
Okay, fantastic. And also, are there any kind of tips, tricks, anything that you can share with us, with our audience here to maybe help them in the future, or maybe some things just to look out for in their own house and plumbing?
Oh yeah. So every year before the first freeze, you should always detach your your hose from your hose bib on the outside. Um, if you leave your hose connected to the hose bib, you have the potential of making your hose burst your bib on the inside.
Okay.
Um, when the hose is connected, it doesn't allow the water to self drain out, and then that water gets stuck in the hose bib and it will freeze. Obviously, the last couple winters haven't been super cold, but a couple years ago we had a couple 0-degree days, and that's when you see a lot of pipes freezing and stuff like that. I know there's YouTube and stuff like that. I always tell people to learn how to turn their own gas off, um, especially when there's a gas leak or anything like that. It's always good to know how to shut that off. As long as you have a little wrench, you can turn the gas off on the outside. Save yourself from worrying about blowing anything up before the cops or whoever you call gets there to shut it off for you. So if you can
Okay.
learn how to do that, I highly suggest doing that.
Yeah, that's super important. That could save not only your life, but your neighbors' lives and stuff too.
Right. And a lot of times people don't know how to do it, and they have to wait for the fire department to get there before it gets shut off. And the problem with that is it's good that they get there, but once they get there, they shut your gas off and they lock it up. So that makes it hard for when you have to, they don't actually do the repair. So you have to call a plumber.
Mhm.
And what they do is they lock up the gas controls before we can turn them back on. And it just makes it harder for us to test it if we don't know where the actual leak is.
Right.
Um, in certain situations, and Columbia Gas they'll just lock it up and say, see you later. And then we have to try to find it without being able to smell it or anything like that. It just makes it easier to find it.
Right. Okay. Well, that's something that I definitely didn't think about. So definitely helpful information. And like Ryan said, go to YouTube, check out how to turn off your gas just in case of emergency. Always good just to know that. But thank you, Ryan. I mean, is there anything else that we should know? Anything else you want to touch on?
Well, if you guys are trying to reach me for plumbing, my number is 614-579-1223. So
Okay,
that's the best way to get me. Call me, text me any time of the day. I usually answer pretty quickly.
Okay. And Ryan does know his stuff. He's helped not only me, but some of my family as well. And I mean, my stuff's still holding up, not a drop of water in sight. So I appreciate that. But like he said, give him a call if you have questions, if you need any help with plumbing. Ryan, again, brother, I appreciate you coming on with me to answer a couple questions and kind of give some value to the audience. And hopefully you get some people calling you from this. And if you ever need anything, man, you know my number. So just give me a ring.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Ian.
All right.